Hello, everybody. Kay Crystal Griffith here, and welcome back for your daily digest. Every day in 2021, we're talking through your emotions, wisdom, and your body. All the nuts and bolts. How's it affecting your brain? Can you have too much of an emotion? And what can you do to counteract those pesky negative ones? So, tonight we have quite a treat for you because you've already heard me once today. I gave a great talk on 10 stealth tools for your emotional health. If you didn't watch that one, go check it out. I was really excited about that one because they were tools that you don't hear normally. So make sure you go check that one. Tonight, what we're going to be doing is talking about confidence. How do we project ourselves? What is that really doing in our brain? And what can we do to create some more, right? So here's your disclaimer. I am not a doctor or do not play one on TV, but I do have my master's in adult education, as well as trauma and inner healing certifications, and a couple other goodies like EFT, emotional freedom technique. That is really cool technique. Tapping, man, it's amazing. Dropping your cortisol by 25%. Who can't beat that? So tonight is really for your education, edification, and your encouragement. So let's get started. Confidence. What are we really talking about there? It's not just about putting on a mask and being able to project and perhaps even be extroverted when you're really introverted. But really, confidence is about who you are inside and allowing that to come forth, right? So, by definition, this is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. There's a firm trust in that confidence, right? It's also the feeling of being self assured and arising from one's appreciation from one's own abilities or qualities. You're appreciative about your talents, gifts, and abilities that God has equipped you with, and you know what you are good at. Now, sometimes that takes a long time to figure out. I got to do a whole lot of administration stuff for a conference I was just attached to in the last week, and it was just by fluke. I just was like, oh yeah, I can set that up. Okay, I'll go throw that in there. And I was just doing it because it's just what I do, right? But for other people, they're like, oh my gosh, that would have taken me years to figure out and how to do it. I'm like, well, you have other talents and abilities that I don't have. For example, building websites, not my thing, as you can tell by my pretty website, right? So that's not my thing. I need to hire people who can do that. I'm still working on that. So, confidence is really about knowing and understanding your gifts and abilities, your unique talents. It's not open for comparison because there's nobody else like you in 7.6 billion people on this planet and counting, right? It's just you. So, what are we talking about as a state of being? This is about being clear headed, really understanding what course of action is the best to take in any given time. Confidence actually comes from a Latin word called fidere, which means to trust. Therefore, having self confidence is having trust in one's self. So, confidence technically is an emotion, but then again, it's not. Confidence is a way of being or an action associated with optimism, hope, or the expectation of being able to handle any resulting outcomes, whether they be negative or positive. Core confidence is the faith that we have in ourselves to handle situations that are thrown at us. Typically, not ones that we created, but they're just kind of like, holy moly, didn't see that one coming, right? Core confidence is based on genetics and understanding. A lot of people don't realize confidence comes from genetics, did you? So it's also that nurture and nature concept. So you would have enough confidence in your skill set and your experience in dealing with problems that you would have been prepared for the longer you do something and you do it well, right? So furthermore, if you suspect that there might be a situation that you can't handle, you have enough confidence to either increase your knowledge and base skill to just tackle it yourself, or confidence enough to pick up the phone and call a handyman. That's where I am now with the shower. We're just going to call somebody. I've done all that I know to do, right? So when you talk about these things, core confidence really sits on four key components: hope, efficiency, optimism, and resilience. We're going to come back to resilience in just a minute. Confidence develops over time as you master those skills. And every time you learn something new, your confidence is going to grow. I learned a new application this weekend that I never saw on the horizon coming that I needed to be familiar with. And here we are. Another big social media platform right now is Clubhouse, right? And people are making money by the bukus, right? It's not even something I've even tackled yet because I have an Android. I don't have an iPhone. So I know that one's coming, right? So when you think about confidence, just understanding that learning is a lifelong gift that you give yourself. There should be something that you're learning new every single day. If not, bigger projects every single year, right? So last year, I ran a summit. First time I've ever run a summit in my entire life. And that was, I'm sorry, guys, my computer has decided to tell me the movie times. Not really sure why. Tell you, you turn stuff off and it turns itself back on. This AI stuff, I think it's listening all the time. So last year when I learned to do that summit, there were things in there I had never done before. I had trained for years. I could project for years. I could do MC for years. But then to do that back work of the emails and finding the speakers, those are all new skills. Well, now I use those skills all the time for what I do and what I'm creating. So every skill that you learn, you're building on to what you've learned already. And that is just going to serve you well. All right. So feeling worthless. Let's talk about that one for a second, because oftentimes people confuse confidence with self-worth. And when we don't feel confident, we somehow tie that to feeling unworthy or worthless. That is not accurate. So I want to be very crystal clear on this. Confidence develops as a master skill set level. And every time you do learn something new, your confidence is going to grow. And the longer you do something, the more confident you're going to feel. Now, your self-worth, feeling self-worth, is being good enough no matter what. No matter if you're learning something or you're not learning something, whether you're good at it or you're not good at it, your self-worth has nothing to do with anything or anyone on this planet. Your self-worth, you are worthy because you exist, because you live and breathe on this planet. Now, a lot of people are going to go, oh, but you got to do this and you got to have this label and you got to have this amount of money in your bank account. That is not accurate. Those things have nothing to do with your worth. And so it's super important to understand that difference. So self-worth is an entirely different animal. Self-worth is a sense of worthiness regardless of how confident you feel. Now, confidence in itself is a positive emotion. Self-confidence is linked to almost every element involved in a happy and fulfilling life. So guess what? You're lighting up your brain when you walk in your confidence and your self-assurance. And again, this is not arrogance or ego. Those pull in of look at me, look at me, look at me. That is not confidence. You will know confidence if you just go and sit in a coffee shop, which is kind of harder to do right now. But if you go and even at the grocery store, you can tell who's walking in confidence and who's kind of like faking it and who has zero confidence, right? You can tell those people just by looking around you. So according to Forbes, we know from brain imaging studies that when we are thinking positively, we activate what we call the value areas of the brain. And these are regions that include the striatum and the prefrontal cortex. Boy, does that ring a bell? So when we're thinking positive, we are activating that prefrontal cortex. Remember, that is your upstairs brain. Those are your executive processing functions. That is your rationalization, your judgment, your memory, your clarity, your vision, your long-term judgment, your multitasking, your regulation of your emotions, right? So it helps you to become more confident. And that's where you begin again to master a new skill set. When we feel confident, we are engaging the circuits involved in the reward and pleasure center, which is also dopamine driven, right? And we literally feel good. You're having that rush of dopamine release in your brain because now you're like, oh, I got it. That's what I call the light bulb moment for my students when I was teaching, when I could see them and it was like clear as day. They just got the light bulb and I'm like, oh, they got it. Yay, you can't undo it. And now they got it, right? And not only do they feel and we feel good, but those around us feel good. You know, when you smile, guess what happens? Other people around you smile because your reward center is almost drawing them in, drawing them to that frequency of excitement and reward and confidence, right? Guess what? That's contagious in a good way. So be contagious with your smiles. So can you have too much confidence? Well, again, when it kind of rolls over to the arrogance of the ego, we're past the point of confidence, right? So I don't think you can have too much confidence. I think you just have to put boundaries around it. Now, confidence gives you the skills and coping methods to handle setbacks and failures, and they happen. We live in a world where you are going to have setbacks. You are going to have failures. Even Jesus warned us about it. But take heart, he has overcome the world, right? You have a stronger sense of authentic self, who you are in your confidence. You're not just putting on, clothes that you're just trying to make them work. You are walking in your confidence. I know somebody, and I love her. I'm going to give a shout out to Doma Jones. She wears earmuffs, and she does it because she has a sensitivity with her hearing. But I love it. She rocks those earmuffs, man. They are awesome. And people begin to send her different types of earmuffs. So she's got like one for every day of the year. They're awesome. So I just want to remind you guys, when you have something that is going to automatically make you look different than everybody else, rock it, baby. Rock it. Here's the thing. So I had a little bout with skin cancer a couple times. I have about 75 of these spots taken off of my body. Started after I was 40. We have no idea why. Something triggered, and now I got them, right? So the next person that I get involved with in a relationship, I just got to warn them, I look a little like Frankenstein's bride on the back, right? But here's the thing. We're okay with that. My arms, my legs, like I wear a bathing suit. You can see what I've had done. And you want to ask me questions about it? I'd love to give you some ideas and direction on how to go to a dermatologist. Everybody should go to one every single year. You get your heart checked, you get your blood checked, you get your cholesterol checked, you get your skin checked. Period, end of story, whether you have freckles or not. That's just my soapbox for the night. So I'm just saying to you, sometimes our confidence just has to be, you know what? Take it or leave it. Here I am. And that's okay too, because that is about you knowing who you are and understanding that your worth doesn't come from anybody else's opinions. Isn't that freeing? I mean, it really is, isn't it? All right. So again, back to confidence, improve relationships. You have confidence, it's a whole nother ballgame in relationships. And you can call people out on their crap, especially if they're treating you in a way that is not appropriate. You can go, nope, I don't have to be in this relationship if you choose to do that. And you have a self-worth innate within you to know that wasn't appropriate for how they were treating you. Now I'm going to tell you that takes learning. That takes understanding. That takes education. That takes, unfortunately, for some of us, experience. I was one of them. It took me a long time to get to that place to go, nope, we're not going to treat me like that anymore. And so when I encourage you to work on your confidence, there's so many resources and tools out there. It can be a little overwhelming. So if you want a more narrowed list about things to start on or books to look at, give me a DM. I'd be happy to share some of my list with you. A really good one, I just love one of these books, is by Pedro Adaho. He's one of my mentors, and he wrote The Finished Life, and that is a fantastic book. It's a great place for everyone to start. So the last piece that I want to talk about is self-confidence can also breed deeper empathy. And so as you understand what creates confidence in you, you can then share that with other people as well. And so you can see where people have been. Like I can tell you going in a grocery store, going to a store, what relationships look like for a lot of women, because I see how they're carrying themselves and they're not upright. And they're like hunched, like I need to hide. And from that, there's a self-worth issue. There's a depression issue. There's a lack of confidence issue. And so the more that we can begin to speak in to other people and encourage them to straighten up their crowns. You've probably seen that meme, right? So a true, authentic, loving woman will go over and help another woman straighten up her crown, not keep pointing out that it's wrong or it's incorrect or she needs a different one, but go, hey, how can I help you? And just be there to support. Sometimes it's just a listening ear, and that can build their confidence so much, just to listen to somebody. So countermeasures. I don't really need to have any for confidence, to be completely honest. So a couple of things I want to share. As Psychology Today shares, the more confident you become, the more you're going to be able to calm the voice inside you, that one that always says you can't do it. And you are going to be able to unhook from those thoughts and take action in line with what your values are and knowing who you are. And by filling up that tank with confidence, you're going to be able to break the cycle of overthinking and quiet that inner critic. So as your confidence grows, you're going to find yourself more driven to stretch your abilities. We should always be growing, always learning. The what if thoughts, they're still going to arise. What if I'm going to fail? What if I'm going to embarrass myself? Let me tell you, senior year of high school, it was bad. So we had a band concert, and one of the songs that we were doing, I played bass clarinet at that time, and one of the songs we were doing was called Waterfall. So all the seniors, we weren't going to get to have a senior banquet. So we were a little annoyed. So we thought we'll play a prank during the senior concert. So during Waterfall, we all had water guns. So during the time that we're playing it, if we were on a rest, we were shooting the band director with the water guns. Yeah, so that left water puddles on the floor. Okay. Now, I was also one of the lead people for the flag unit. And so I had to jump off after Waterfall, run out, grab my flag, put on a different costume, and then come back in for the very next performance to do our flag routine according to what we were going to play in the band. So I jump up, I get out, and I go to kind of jog, run out so I can go out and grab my stuff. And I hit one of the puddles of water. Now, mind you, this is in front of the entire school. Yep, that's me. Yep. Now, I laid there for a brief moment, face down, and went, you got to be kidding me. And mind you, soaking wet at this point and laying in front of the entire school. So I jump up, I take a bow, and then I run off and get the flag. Yes, I still remember that to this day. Sometimes you just got to own what's happened, keep on going. But it was the talk of the town for a little bit. And I would just wave as they point me out. Yep, that was me. Yep. Just got to own it, right? All right. So we are going to embarrass ourselves sometimes, right? But with self-assurance, your thoughts can no longer paralyze you, because that's what could have happened to me. I could have laid there and not gotten up, and they would have danced right over me. Trust me. But instead, you grin, you get up, you curtsy, and you keep on going, right? So what gives one more confidence? Well, choosing to rise to the occasion, because you might have faith. Faith is kind of like taking action. It's a result of knowing that there's going to be a better outcome and counting on it, right? So there is a difference in confidence by the way of faith. You can have a willy-nilly faith, and that's really a faith based on arrogance or ego. God's not a genie in a bottle. He hears you. He wants you to talk to him. But there is a difference in your confidence of faith when you walk into the throne room with understanding and the confidence and the authority that he has given you through Christ on the cross. And so he's already given you that. You're equipped with it. It's already in there. The question is whether you've activated it or not. And that's where that understanding and that authority come in, because you have to learn, right? We're not born knowing that, but we're taught and we learn. Some of the things that we're taught are very wrong. And so you learn that too. And then you readjust and you recalibrate and you keep on going. So Ephesians 3:12, in him and through faith in him, we may approach God with confidence and freedom. Jeremiah 17:7, but blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord with confidence, who is in him. And 1 John 5:14, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. According to his will. So that takes the learning, piece of the confidence, and the understanding for the faith piece to understand what his will is, right? So we can ask according to his will. Isn't that cool? He says he'll give it to us. So we got to figure out how to unlock that, right? So that's on us. So how are you going to use this new information about confidence? How are you going to apply it to your life? Remember, wisdom is not just the hearing, but the understanding and the application. So your 3 questions: how has confidence been showing up in your life? How is it not? Has it been positive or negative for you? And how can you transform confidence by wisdom, understanding, and knowledge as you move in it moving forward? So take the scriptures, drop your name in them, personalize them. They're your promises too. Go live. I'd love to hear how you have had to have a similar experience to my little waterfall. What did you do in those moments? So tomorrow's word is subconscious. We've talked a lot about it, but I don't think we really defined it very well. So let's get to work on that. So that is what we are going to start our next month with, subconscious. Until then, you guys have a fantastic day. Join us again tomorrow for more emotions, wisdom in your body, and register at kcrystalgriffith.com to receive insights and your feelings wheel. Until then, God bless. Take care.